Welcome to the Feminist Wellbeing Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Dozier, non-diet nutritionist, certified intuitive eating counselor, and cognitive behavior coach. And I've earned myself a PhD in diet culture. And at the age of 40, I said, hell no, and graduated from a 25-year dieting career. And I'm here today to guide you on how to feel damn good by reshaping your mind instead of your body. And today we're going to talk about rebellious eating, or otherwise known as overeating, binge eating, compulsive eating, nighttime eating, out of control eating, pendulum swing, for those that are going through the intuitive eating process, and how we can use these eating behavior for self-liberation. Get us started with the words of one of my clients from years ago. She filled up an application to work with me, and to this day, it's probably been the best description of this concept, of this ideology of rebellious eating behavior. So let me quote her word for word here. Within a few weeks of starting a new eating plan, the same thing always happened. No matter why I'm on this eating plan, I find myself rebelling against the rule. I basically says, fuck it, and go crazy with all the restricted, forbidden food. And of course, I end up feeling like crap. Not only am I stuffed, but I'm also angry and ashamed. So naturally, my response to that is to go in fix it mode, which for me means hopping online and searching for the new eating plan while promising myself that I really stick with it this time. She applied to work with me because she believed that something was wrong with her inability to control her reaction to food or eating behavior. And she said, quote, "If only I had more willpower and discipline, then I'm sure I would finally be successful at the dieting game." Although Anka, her name is, she didn't describe it as rebellious eating. What she was experiencing is rebellious eating. I'm going to move us to the definition of rebellious eating, and I'm going to come back to her and another one of my clients' example in just a minute. Rebellious eating, in the way that I'm seeing it, is when food or eating is used in order to resist the authority. In fact, it's the response from your nervous system, from your inner world, in order to reaffirm your power over your food, over your body, over your existence. Rebellious eating is not about the food. Rebellious eating is a response from our inner world to this urge that we have as functioning adult human being, that we ought here at this point in our life to live an autonomous life. That everything we've been through to the point of becoming an adult was to prepare us to be autonomous, to have agency, to have power over our destiny. And when we go to the specific field of health, body size, eating behavior, who we are as a woman in a patriarchal society, it's all attempt to control us. Society puts out norms, puts out expectation of what our body should look like, of what we should look like, of how we should eat, of who we should be, and what we should believe about ourselves, attempting to control our inner human urge to be an autonomous, self-controlling individual in this society. And we respond back to these expectations with rebellious behavior. Rebellious eating is about fighting for our autonomy and our agency to be able to self-nourish, to be able to live in our body, to be able to determine the course of how we are going to engage with our health, with our body, with our eating. Rebellious eating is no different than the rebellious behavior of teens as they evolve towards adulthood, right? We all remember challenging authorities, challenging the former rules that our parent had for us as we were growing up and pushing the limits so we can self-determine what time we would come back home after the party, right? And how much alcohol or when we should drink alcohol. We were pushing the boundaries. It's rebellious behavior are true at the macro level also when we think about wars. But what is the real reason people engage? Why the real reason not people, but country and political power engage into war is to the process of self-liberation, of self-determination, right? We fight to live our religious belief the way we want to. We fight, political power will fight to have the land, the size of land they think they should have. That's what rebellious behaviors are. It's about self-determination, agency, and power. And it is no different with food. When we think about how humans are built, we have the innate ability, our built-in system to feed ourselves. It's called our hunger, fullness, and satisfaction cue. That's why I preface to see adult functional human being. Most human being, I'll say roughly like 95% of human being have the interoception capacity to feed themselves. There's a percentage, a small percentage of the adult human that may not have this capacity, but we'll talk general population here. Most of us have the capacity to feed ourselves. And when we put food rules in, what we do is deny our innate capacity, our innate power over food, right? We are saying, no, you're not hungry. Screw that. We're not hungry. That's false. No, I'm not going to feed you because I need to lose weight. Or our innate desire to eat satisfying food like sugar. We're like, no, 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 no. Sugar is bad. Sugar is unhealthy for you. Meanwhile, for millions of years, we've ate sugar, right? Sugar is in all form that we think about fruit, that we think about sugar cane. Humans have consumed sugar. And when we are saying no sugar, or we're saying, no, you're not hungry, we're denying our own urges as human. And for sure, we will rebel. Why are we surprised by this? We're surprised by this because of why we're engaging with the control in the first place. We are engaging with this control behavior to feel safe. And I'm going to go specifically in our field as self-identified women in a patriarchal and fatphobic society, or even fatphobic and ageist society. We engage in these control, we buy in to this need to control in order to meet these external guidelines, right? That our body should be a certain look, that it should display youth, that it should be thin, that we should only be able to eat or should only desire to eat fruits and vegetables and quote unquote healthy protein, and anything outside of that makes us wrong. When our body is not thin, we are wrong as an individual. We're not a good woman if we're not attractive, if we don't stay young at all ages. When we think about these expectations and what could happen to us if we don't meet those expectations, rejection, shame, judgment, making less money, right? All these things that can happen to us if we don't meet these expectations, it's totally normal that we look up for such a solution to avoid not meeting these expectations. And the solution that society gives us, that diet culture, wellness culture gives us, is food restriction. Food restriction to shrink your body, food restriction to keep health and be young for the rest of your life, food restriction from a well-being perspective so you can avoid having wrinkles, so you can eat more collagen so you don't have wrinkle from the outside. It's from all angles. Food is used as a way of protecting ourselves from not meeting the expectations. Here's where most people miss the point here. As functioning adults in society, when we're like, we'll say 20 plus years old, and we engage in controlling our food behavior, creating the urge, the rebellious behavior to reestablish our autonomy. Here's the thing. We are both the restrictor and the restrictee. Meaning, we are the one deciding to engage in the restricting behavior and are the one restricting. So we look to the outside, we say, okay, we need to look this way, I need to do this. Then in our own mind, we engage, agree to these expectations and tell ourselves we need to control the food. And we are the one who's being restricted in our urge to feed ourselves. We unconsciously agree to both roles. Yet it is true that society sets up these expectations, but it is also true that we have a choice not to engage in those expectations. And I want to illustrate how this can look like and feel like for you at the individual level. I'm going to use the example of one of my past clients. Her name is Tyler, and I'm going to use her words so you can either hear your client if you are a professional or hear yourself there. It's like I have all this pinned up anger from years of dieting, and I can't control myself at the thought of having to do any choices or take any form of responsibility with food. Here's what happens in my brain. Tyler, you should really be eating more vegetable. What's wrong with you? Why is it that by now you don't crave naturally to eat more vegetables? Something must be wrong with you. You should want to eat more green vegetable. What's wrong? And this narrative, Stephanie, keeps going in my head on and on and on as to why I don't want natural craving for vegetable and why I should want more. It's like a loop that never stops. She is the one imposing herself the expectation of wanting to eat more green vegetable. Now, it is also true that Tyler was exposed, like all of us, to this notion that you should eat 10 to 12 serving of vegetables and fruit a day. And that if you're not wanting that, if you're not doing that, something is wrong with you. But at 45 years old, Tyler has engaged in these expectations, chose to engage in these expectations. But here's the beauty about when you can see that you are the restrictor and the restrictee, that is the solution also. When you can fully engage in what I call self-responsibility, seeing yourself as the one that chose to engage as those conditioning and these expectations, you are also the one who can say, fuck it, I am no longer taking part in this game. But until you can sit with your rebellious eating behavior from a lens of self-responsibility, you will feel like there is no solution. And this is, for me, if we use my story as an example, that's why I looped in it for 25 years. Because the whole way through these 25 years, my line, my mental narrative was, but I don't have a choice. I have to. The moment I move from I have to I choose to, that's when liberation became available for me. Now, this is the skill you need to build, self-authorization. You need to build the skill set to be able to authorize yourself, to give yourself the permission to believe what you want. And that is a skill for women living in a patriarchal society, women conditioned to the patriarchal model of society. We have not been taught as we grew up. We have not been taught to be the authority over our life, the authority over our body, the authority over our food, the authority over our health. We have been taught 100% of the time, go outside of yourself because you're not smart enough to make these decisions for yourself. The gurus, the doctors, the nutritionist, the dietitian, the expert are better than you to make decisions about what you should eat, when you should eat, how much you should eat, what your body should weigh, how you should engage with health. And then we need to claim back this authority, this self-authorization skill to make decision about our health, about who we are. Because in a way, I didn't much talk about this, but all of this is about meeting other people's expectation as women so we can finally feel worthy enough. So we have to authorize ourselves to believe I'm good enough. I'm good enough as I am right now in the career that I have, in the money that I have, in the size that I have, in the way that I eat. I'm good enough. Now, do I want to eat more vegetable? Entirely up to me. I don't have to. I choose to. So the solution to rebellious eating behavior is allowance. It's allowance for us to not eat the green vegetable. It's the allowance for us to be at the size that we want to. It's the allowance for us to have wrinkle. It's the allowance for us to not meet the beauty standard and not, I'm coaching someone right now about makeup, not have to wear makeup every day. Side note, I've been coaching this woman, she's 50 plus, and since the age of 12, every morning of her life, she's put on a full face of makeup. Like we're talking a full face, like foundation, eyes, brows, lips, more than I even know myself about makeup. She's put on a full face of makeup, and she just realized through doing the food and the body image work with me that for her, it's also because she's in her 50 now, it's about not looking irrelevant as an old woman. Because she's also someone whose career, she's pursuing a professional career, and she's been trained, like all of us, that old women are irrelevant. They are to be tossed aside. So now here's where it can illustrate rebellious eating behavior. Her eating behavior got amped up in the last few years. It became even more powerful and even more disturbing to her life because she's aging and she's being constantly bombarded in her professional career of how old women are irrelevant. And she was trying to prove to the world that she was relevant by looking young, staying thin, and controlling even more her food behavior. So I'm going to recap for all of us. Reversing, ending, overcoming rebellious eating behavior has very little to do with food. It has to do with your self-concept, how you perceive yourself, and the ability, your capacity to authorize yourself to be good enough as you are, to believe in yourself, to authorize yourself to eat the way you want to be at the size that your body naturally is at without any extreme effort. It's the ability to make your own decision that are not anchored in meeting other people's expectation of you. And that will stop the need for rebellion, because you're going to reaffirm your authority over yourself. You will reaffirm your agency over your life to live the life that you want the way you want to. You will reaffirm your autonomy, your capacity, your power to make decisions for yourself about your life. And I want to say this because it's coming up to my mind. It is not power over other people. It's power over yourself and your damn life, not the life of other people. When you live in a space of power over yourself, your life, the way you eat, your body, yeah, things can get shook up from time to time. I want you to think of a palm tree. That's the example I use all the time. If you've seen a palm tree being shaken by ocean wind, right? If you're on the beach or you're close to the beach and you see the palm tree waver left to right, that flexibility to go left to right, to be waver by the wind, but remaining grounded. And that's the secret of palm tree, right? They're grounded, their roots and their upright trunk, that flexibility of the trunk to be wavered. When you are in your power, yeah, sometimes when you gain weight, you may be wavered, right? I see that a lot with long-term clients. I tend to stay connected for years with my clients. And then there's sometimes we'll book in this, I haven't talked to them for 2 years. They'll book in a ad hoc consultation because perhaps they've gained weight, right? Their body is changing for whatever reason, and they feel like this discomfort. Their palm tree, they're waving, right? They want to be helped with that, but their roots are so strong and they're so grounded in being in their power because of the work we've done together, that they know that this waving over their weight is just something that's happening to them. And there's no way they're going to give their power over their body, over themselves. There's no way they're going to go back on a diet. But they don't know what to do with that wavering. That's when I come in and I can help them reestablish their power. But they're stuck because they're like, there's no fucking way I'm going back to dieting. There's no fucking way I'm getting back into this guru health bullshit stuff. But I'm still feeling uncomfortable with this weight gain. And they're like, what do I do now? How do I deal with this weight gain from a place of power, not from a place of disempowerment? And I'm going to wrap us up to say, when we do the work, when we coach our clients to heal, overcome the rebellious eating behavior with food from the perspective I've just entertained you for the last 30 minutes, they become palm tree, well rooted in their power. They may waver, but they will never again give their power away to diet culture, wellness culture, or any other external power pushing on them. I welcome any questions. As always, you are welcome to reach out to me on social media, Instagram, DM. Love to hear your thoughts on this episode. I love you, my sister, and I'll see you on the next episode. Hey, my sisters, if you are loving what you are learning on the podcast, you have to come and check out our feminist mentorship masterclasses and our internationally recognized non-diet coaching certification on our website at www.stephaniedote.com/shop. This is where you can get the individual coaching and the support to take the concept taught on the podcast to the next level, embrace our well-being in a way that will expand our collective freedom and power. Come and join myself and other women to learn how to reshape your mind, not your body. I'll see you there.